the Melrose Library Association. Julianne, you want to run over this for us right quick, please?
Yeah, thank you, Chairman. And the Melrose Library Association approached us, and they'd like to make some upgrades and improvements to an old meeting room that is a little bit outdated. Their vision is to turn it into a STEAM room, which would be science, technology, engineering, art, and math, what we also kind of refer to as maker space. So it's somewhere where they're going to do experiments and that type of thing. They're proposing to fund it. They're proposing to manage the activity and oversee it. They're simply asking the board, obviously, for permission for both of those. And they were here this morning just to be recognized and to express our gratitude for all the work that they do in that library. But they did have to leave. They had doctor's appointments this afternoon, so we're sad that they are not here with us.
Thank you, Commissioner Harvey.
Mr. Chairman, I did thank them for being here, and they have, Mr. High and, Mr. Ward and the rest of the group have done amazing work out in Melrose. And I'm just really glad we had that citizens group out there. So if no further comments, I'd like to make a motion that we approve the Pat Ward to be manager and oversee the activity in coordination with the county administration and library administration, as well as approve to make necessary building modifications to the Melrose Library as described within our packet.
We have a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, ayes have it, motion carries. I'd just like to say that I also agree with Commissioner Harvey and would like to join him in thanking the participation from the Melrose Library Association in this project. And with that being said, we're going to turn the meeting over to the Honorable Matt Reynolds. He wants to discuss a one-stop convenience center solution to the clerk's office. So, Matt.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and thank you, staff, and thank you, commissioners, for having this on the agenda. Just to be brief, our customer service functions are located in two separate buildings right now, and it's kind of confusing when people arrive at the courthouse when we send them across the parking lot to which building and whatnot. So we kind of explored an idea of what it would take to reconfigure the Tim Smith building, which is the building that tax deeds and some other functions are, tax deed auction sales are located in, as well as the old Board of County Commission meeting room. Attached is a kind of a preliminary drawing. It's not a fully engineered drawing, but we kind of used it as an idea to see if the space would work for this. And we have come up with the following drawing. It's attached to the agenda item. Kind of shows the existing walls of the old BOCC room are within gray. They're kind of hard to see, but in there, if you look real close, you'll see some of the walls that are gray, not the blue walls. Those are existing walls, and we wouldn't have to move those. We're planning to return, estimated at this point, around $350,000, and we think that this project will probably come in less than that, but I wanted to bring this to the board in advance to have a discussion with the board to see if the board would be amenable to that, and if they were, how the board would like to fund it. But open for any questions or further discussion.
Matt, you know that I'm on board with this, and the reason why is that years ago the county you had to go to 5 to 7 locations in order to get a building permit in Putnam County. Right now, you can walk next door and go get a building permit and turn in all your stuff. The health department's even got a place next door. They've even got it lined up to where they contact Public Works on your behalf where you don't have to go there and get it. Anytime that I think that we can make a big effort like we are right here to help the citizens go to a one-stop convenience place so everybody knows that if you need a tax deed information, if you need recording, if you need whatever service, pay a traffic ticket, whatever service you need to do, you can go into this one building and do it. You don't have to go up to the guard and ask him, where would I do this at? All services for point of contact with the public will be in this one building for convenience purposes. I'm on board for it. Just want to say that.
Thanks, sir.
Commissioner Wilkinson.
Thank you. Yes, I am too. For me, it's a public safety issue. I know whenever I visited and went and toured that facility, it's a little cramped the way it is right now, and that the customer service representatives can't really see people coming around that corner, and you can have multiple people there who recently have just had a contentious court case, whether it be something in family court or whatever, and this sort of separates a little bit and gives a little bit more room, and it's safety for our staff, and I'm pleased that you guys have moved this to this point.
Mr. Harvey?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I concur. I think this is wonderful, Mr. Clerk, for you bringing this to us, and it'll help our citizens in and out a lot faster. And I was really surprised at the numbers of people you serve in a given day, in a given week, in a given month. So I was really excited about that. But you have my full support, sir.
Thank you. Mr. Adamczak?
Yeah, I'll say as someone that went in the building that's there now, just literally, I think last week or the week before, I'm thankful that there's gonna be restrooms right near where the waiting area is. Because I couldn't wait, and I had to leave and come back. So that's good, but the area in gray, that's the area that you're.
That's existing. That's
existing?
No, sir. So the gray lined area is already existing area of the tax deed building that we are not doing anything with. So it'd be only the colored section of the building that,
Okay.
it's currently, the majority of that space is all old boardroom, which sits empty 99% of the time.
And you feel from your numbers, because you have that sign-in portal, so you obviously have a good grasp on how many people utilize the facility. That's enough seating area for a waiting area? And it was pretty much empty the day I was there, just, I had to walk out.
It depends on the certain day and time, like Mondays from 10 to 11 a.m. are probably our heaviest, and we've seen, a lot of lines then, but hopefully that would be enough seating area, and this will expand our ability to be able to serve customers as well, because right now we're limited to 3, maybe 4, and it's kind of cramped, and this would
Right.
give us 5 full-time where the staff would be sitting. So, yeah, it would help speed up service time as well.
I support it. My only concern was that you feel you got enough area for people to sit in, so,
Yes, sir.
all right, cool.
Okay. The chair will entertain a motion.
Mr. Chairman, I move approval of the renovations of the Tim Smith Building. And I guess where are we going to fund it from? Is that what you need to know, too?
Well, we'll have to fund it at this point. Help me, Money Warden. We'll have to fund it this point out of general fund, but it will be replenished hopefully by the return from the clerk of court. Is that correct?
That is the intention, yes.
Okay.
All right, that's part of my motion, then.
I'll second it.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, ayes have it. Motion carries unanimously.
Is that a new position that you just endowed?
What, Money Warden? No, she's been that ever since she's been here. She keeps me and JR out of trouble.
There's multiple warden positions, and she holds them all.
Okay, we're
Thank
gonna,
you, Mr. Chairman.
I
and
thought
Mr.
I was the
Commissioners.
punchy one
Thank you.
today.
Appreciate it.
yes, sir, thank you, Matt. I think it's gonna be a great, project. I really do, so. We're gonna go to item F, which is on, page 411 of your agenda, which is for the, shade structure. That is the one, yeah, the shade structure.
Yep.
Is that the shade structure at Theobald?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Okay, so Julianne, you want to give us a quick rundown on that one?
Kevin's
Yes,
making-
sir.
Kevin's
Oh,
Kevin's
Kevin,
going
I'm
to.
sorry, Kevin, go right ahead. I thought,
Yes, sir. We were all in the same meeting. So, thank you, sir. Kevin Stevens, Parks Recreation. As you see in your packet, we had a Recreation Advisory Board meeting on August 21st, where we were talking about a possible shade structure and a location for where we could put it at. Staff met with the contractor on site at the Theobald Sports Complex and looked at a couple of different options. We provided the Recreation Advisory Board with those 3 options that we discussed with the contractor, and then the Recreation Advisory Board voted on what we considered option 1 at the time, which was to put a 15-foot by 30-foot shade structure in between the 2 light poles directly adjacent to the new pickleball courts.
okay, so basically you need a motion today to move the recommendation of the Parks and Rec Committee and approve this, cost.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
And the budget resolution.
And the budget agreement, yes, sir.
It went to the Parks and Rec Committee. Did you say move it to the Parks and Rec Committee?
I said
Okay.
move the recommendation of the Parks and
Okay,
Rec
thank you.
Committee.
Listen, I want to make a comment. We did hold that meeting, and Kevin had 3 locations, correct?
Yes, sir.
And the pickleball group had a location that they preferred. And so they gave a presentation, and the board discussed it. There was a lot of deliberation going back and forth. And the board made the recommendation to go with option 1, which would allow the users of the tennis court, pickleball court, sand volleyball courts to use this shade structure. Where the pickleball group wanted it, I understand it, but it would be pretty much just usable by the pickleball group. So this is a recommendation of the Parks and Rec Board.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Is there any further discussion? If not, the chair will entertain a motion.
Mr. Chair, I move approval.
Okay, we have a motion to approve. Do we have a second?
Second.
Have a motion to approve and a second. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, ayes have it, motion carries. Thank you, Kevin.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Kevin.
Okay, item G is another Parks and Recreation thing, but I'm gonna take this one to start with. I actually requested this be placed on the agenda today. We voted earlier today to, do the sports complex in that Theobald Park, but they didn't have enough money to finish up the ARPA. They didn't have enough ARPA funds to finish up this project. I requested that it be placed on here for us to discuss finishing up finishing up the request to have the ball field done down with the rest of the ARPA money that's left in that line item, and the money, and we would have to put an additional 187, 150, is that right, Julianne?
No, sir, 91.
Yeah,
But we have to put in an additional 91?
Right, you have the 187, 150 left from the ARPA project line designated for South Putnam. The 91, 844 would come from that supplemental related ARPA funding, but the local tribal dollars.
Okay, so what ends up happening here is that whenever we put money aside for a project, whether it be out of ARPA or general fund budget or whatever, all we do is take our best guess at the time on what that project's going to run. So this one actually, this was basically $1 million of total money that we set aside to do this work, and some other work, the lighting and different things too.
No, sir, South Putnam only got about 400, so that's
Okay.
why this one ran so short, was that we didn't fund South Putnam with the amount of money that we did for the other areas.
Okay, so we need basically 91,000, and it would come from the money that we received earlier, which was additional ARPA-type funds that came in that we approved on the consent agenda. So all we're saying is that we're gonna take that additional ARPA-type funding and put it towards this project where we can finish it up, so it won't be a general fund impact at all.
Correct.
At this point, it would come from that additional ARPA dollars. Okay, Commissioner Harvey.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. In reading the page 418, looks like we're not going to put any more clay down. Are we sure that it's not going to take more clay?
No, clay is just not included in their cost, because I can get clay cheaper than they can get clay. So I can buy clay cheaper
that's what I
than
was
the
gonna
vendor
say.
can buy clay. So clay is not included in this contract. We will replenish clay as part of our normal operational cycle.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, is there any further discussion? If not, the chair will entertain a motion.
Mr. Chairman, I move approval of the Parks and Recreation South Sports Complex Field and Turf Rehabilitation, ARPA, $275,517, Resolution 2023-108.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. So we've already got part of this set aside, but you've got an approval for the other part. You took that?
Correct.
Okay. All right, so is there any further discussion?
Yeah, I have a comment. I just want to thank this board, Julianne, and Kevin, Parks and Recs, for approving the monies for the parks. The Crescent City Park was definitely in need of lighting, so we upgraded the 2 ball fields with LED lighting, and then we put new lighting on the multipurpose field, which will mainly be used for soccer. And Kevin said we had, 200 and something people signed up for soccer? 258 people signed up for soccer this year, and they weren't able to utilize this multipurpose field during the winter months because it just wasn't enough daylight, so you have to play during the day. So this is going to be big. And also the turf is really bad there, and so this will really enhance this facility, and I just want to thank everybody for that.
Not a problem. As I said earlier, I'm surprised it wasn't already done with it being in District 1.
Well, some things take a little time. You just got to kind of ease them along.
Okay, do we have any further discussion on the motion? Hearing none, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, ayes have it, motion carries unanimously. Okay, so next is the construction and maintenance agreement for the Memorial Light Bridge lighting. I'm going to start on this one. The problem that I'm having with this is really that of the projected costs that come from DOT. They're saying that it's going to cost over $20,000 a year in electricity only. It's on in your packet, and that was an estimate from DOT. So basically, if you look out for 20 years, that's $400,000 over the next 20 years, and that does not include any of the maintenance that has to be done on top of the $20,000 a year in electricity. And the city years ago took over the walkway underneath the bridge, and they spent this year upwards of $100,000 just working on the walkway under the bridge, and they didn't have a choice because they took on a maintenance agreement. So I think that by doing this, we're obligating future commissioners to spending the $20,000 a year, plus whenever the lights break or the blind mosquitoes get in them and block them, they'll have to be cleaned, or whenever the lights go bad or whatever the case may be, somebody's going to have to go replace the lights sometime in the future. So if this was for safety or navigation or something that was not just decorative, then I might could get on board for it, but I just can't get on board for it. And so I wanted to start with that discussion, and then I'll open the floor. Commissioner Harvey.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I do appreciate those comments. I take a little different view of it. I do think that our St. Johns River is our showcase, and if we can do something to light that bridge, I think that we'd be missing an avenue here by not going out to our municipalities and our business partners. I know the TDC right now could possibly not do it, but we don't know what the future might hold. So I think what we ought to be doing is going out in the community and see what the temperature of the community is, see what our partners might be willing to do. And maybe this is in the wrong venue, but maybe we could partner with the city of Palaca, Interlaken, Pomona Park, Crescent City, and Willaca and help offset some of these costs. Because I do think it would be a beautiful rendition for our river as we go forward into the future. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Commissioner Adamsack.
I normally don't talk about things in this way, but when we got to look at this as an economic development thing in a way, and I'll relate it to when I was a citizen. I went to, I think it was the Parks and Rec meeting when they were talking about, or it was a workshop maybe, where we were talking about Project Play. And I gave my opinion that Project Play was a boon to our economic development, and for the reason that people visit and people, when they go and they bring their kids around to go basically in a water feature and stuff, they go to McDonald's, they go other places and do other things. I think this gives the people reason to be outside, to be in that area, to be near the businesses down there by the downtown area. I think it's going to generate some sales tax for us. I think that overall it's going to make us a more attractive place to visit. It's going to make it more attractive for people when they're out on their boats and they want to see something beautiful. I think it's going to make a difference in a way that we can't measure exactly in dollar and cents. And I share all your same concerns, Commissioner Chairman Turner, on the cost. But I think it's going to be close to break even, or maybe the cost will be substantiated. I don't know how you measure that, but I think that the number of people that will be hanging out in that area to see it at night may be a net boon for the community.
Thank you, sir. Commissioner Wilkinson.
Thank you, Commissioner Adamsack. I agree with most of what you're saying. I also think it will help our economic development. Downtown area is working on a revitalization. We've had businesses investing in downtown Palaca, and seeing Palaca grow, it is our county seat, but it is obviously a different jurisdiction. And in my opinion, I like the idea of what we're doing. I don't want us to just turn it down and say no without doing some more, filling the community out, like you said, whether we can come up with a partnership. Personally, I would like to see the city take this on. I think the city already does. They have a contract for the lights and the maintenance of the lights on the bridge, and it would make more sense to me if the city was the lead agency. I'd like to see us volley it to them or have a meeting and sit down and say, hey, is this something you guys would be interested in? And then maybe we offer some kind of partnership. So if it's, if the lighting's $20,000 a year, maybe we offer to split that with them, and then they take on the responsibility of the upkeep and maintenance. So I think sometimes you have to think outside the box, and this is one of those cases I think we got to think outside the box and realize, the county covers a large geographical area, but this bridge touches downtown Palaca, and I think it's going to completely impact in a positive way downtown Palaca area, because there's a lot of people investing down there, and a lot of people are wanting to go down there, and like I said, the revitalization. So I don't know that it necessarily has to be a county issue as much as it could, if we could transfer that, or at least have the discussion with the city and see if they'd be willing to take the lead as being the lead agency, and then us do some kind of a partnership or MOU for an offset of the utilities. So that's where I'm at with it.
So what you're saying is that we just table this for a month and give staff time to talk to the city and find out if the city has any willingness to participate in this project along with the county?
Yeah, I would like to see the city take the lead, but of course, we got to have the discussion with them at first, and then if we could do that, maybe come up with some kind of a MOU.
Would you be willing, if the commission gave you the authority to approach the city and talk to them?
Sure, I would be willing to take that charge.
Commissioner Adams Act?
I'm all for us working with any partnership we can, whether it's private or public, with other cities and towns. And I'm not comfortable with the city taking the lead just because from the past experience that we just saw with the walkway underneath and stuff being not maintained and basically for years. And I do think if we were to move forward with it, that we should probably retain the maintenance of it, just because I think that way we know it's going to be maintained, because I have full confidence in our staff to do so. And but either way is fine with me. I just there's a track record there, I guess.
Well, I would like to recommend that we at least table this thing for a month and let Commissioner Wilkinson have the authority to go talk to the city about if they have any interest whatsoever in putting a deal together, an MOU or an understanding of some kind that they'll participate in this operation, if that's all right. So, but I'd need a motion to do that.
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to make,
Yeah, go right ahead, sir.
if you don't mind, I think Commissioner Wilkinson is more than adequate to go to the city, but I'd still like to go to the outlining municipalities and talk to
Okay.
them.
Could we possibly let you go talk to Interlochen?
I'd be glad to.
And Melrose, I guess?
Melrose is
Aren't you just Interlochen? Okay, and then Commissioner Pickens, would you be willing to talk to Crescent City to see if they had any appetite for being a partner in this?
If that's what the board wants.
No,
I
sir, I'm
see-
asking if
I
that,
will do that. I do see a lot of drawbacks with the county toting the load on this.
Right.
And I just truly do. So I will talk to the municipalities. You're looking for some monetary support is what we are going to ask for. Is that correct?
Correct.
yeah, maybe we could come up with that. Well, Commissioner Wilkinson will see the Palaca,
I'll take
And-
care of it.
and Larry, or Commissioner Harvey will take Interlochen, and you'll take Crescent City. I'll be honest with you, and could you also talk to Mayor Watts and Willaca Bill? Do you think you could do that, or
I'll talk to
Commissioner
Pomona
Pickens?
Park, Willaca, and Crescent City.
Okay, and just see if anybody has any interest in being a partner in this, so,
And one more thing, if you don't mind, we don't know as Harvey always says, we don't know what we don't know. Like listen, that's what's going to be on your plaque when you retire. We don't know what we don't know. But I think we're going to have a bet of how many times he says it, right? But in all seriously, we only know right now the electricity cost.
That's right.
We do not know what the maintenance is. And so this isn't something that we need. I completely understand where Commissioner Turner's coming from. It's not a need. We don't need this. But is there some return on our investment? Is there willingness and interest from the community, business partners, or from other municipalities? So that's where I was coming from at it before we just say no. But we do need to find out what the maintenance costs are beyond the electricity.
Well, the problem with that is you don't know when the lights are gonna break.
I understand that, but there are already in place in the state of Florida bridges that are lit. And so you can take and do some kind of analytical approximation, deduction, some kind of what if they've had a bridge in place for the last 10 years, what does it cost them to do those same lights? And then you can base it on a linear footage. You can do some deductive reasoning to figure out approximately a number of what the maintenance cost would be.
And Chairman Turner, along those lines, I have reached out to DOT, and they're compiling a list of communities that have lights on their bridge and what the maintenance cost has been in the past 10 years. So we'll have some idea where to get started at.
Okay, well, if y'all will table this for a month,
Sure.
does that give y'all enough time to do all the Commissioner Adams Act?
You know, since I don't have a city in my ring, and I think that it's imperative that we involve the private sector as well. I'd like to take on going to the Chamber of Commerce and talking to see if we can generate any leads there as far as getting some private sponsorship or however we want to do that. And that may be something ongoing if you'd be willing to let me do that.
You're gonna go after the private, he's gonna go after Interlochen, you're gonna go see your three, and you're gonna go see the city. Okay, so the chair will entertain a motion to give us a 30-day table,
Sure, we can table this for 30 days, Mr.
to the
Chairman.
second meeting in
October.
October, so it wouldn't be exactly 30 days until
Well,
the second meeting in October.
Mr. Chairman, I move that we table this to the second meeting in October, give us time to get out in the community and get our answers.
Okay, do we have a second? We have a second. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it, motion carries. The next one is the courthouse elevator safety upgrade or update. Guys, we don't have a choice on this one. It's something we got to do, so.
That's what I asked Julianne, have we got a choice on this?
No, we don't have a choice on this one. Shut down the elevator and not let anybody get upstairs. Then ADA is gonna come knocking on your door, and it's gonna be a lot ranker than this. So, Chair will entertain a motion or
So
further.
moved, Mr. Chairman.
Have a motion
I'll second it.
and a second. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay, unanimous. Appointments.
Oh, we have MSBU?
Oh, I'm glad I got supervision around here, all I can say.
Well, you're coming up on that.
At 2 o'clock when I passed it somewhere where,
That's right, on the back. After county. Turn that page over. Yep.
oh, okay, I got you. All right, we're gonna go to the 2 o'clock public hearing, 2 o'clock or soon thereafter. And Julianne, is this you, or is this JR? Who is this? Because there's no backup information.
We can put the mic between us. Tony, Mr. Poprosky's here as well from our MSBU coordinator. We have to do the public hearing for the changes in the MSBU. At this time, I think we're not going to change any of the rates. We originally sent a letter to the Morris Trail, but Poprosky did some research, and with their reserve balance, I think they could be able to push through at least one more year. So at this time, we'd recommend no changes to the MSBU rate schedule.
Okay, so you did meet with the people and have the meeting, or Tony did, or whatever about, you're talking about that one that's out in, behind Watts Funeral Home, correct?
You can lower them. I mean, but he met with, what's St. John's Riverside Estates, I think is the name of that particular one. He met with the community, and they did not want a reduction, except for the few people that lived on Tropic Avenue.
Tony, could you come up right quick, please, sir? I'll be sure and let them, it's a public hearing.
Yes, sir.
So basically, I know that we had a short discussion on this not too long ago, and that you had, the people that you did talk to in the area decided that they would just keep them at that level for one more year and try to build some additional reserves towards a project they had in the future. Is that not correct?
Are we speaking about St. John's River's
St.
Edge?
John's,
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
I believe that the citizenry in that area, I think that they're worried that the cost of doing business will start to outpace their income, and they don't want to go with less service. So that was we are going to, I had spoken, whenever I had the meeting, August 10th, we had talked about having another meeting later this year, probably October or November timeframe, kind of get a little bit better idea, maybe, hopefully better participation, and see where they want to go from there for going into the next year.
If we do it later than we are right now, we won't be able to drop the MSBU rate, because once the tax bills go out, the MSBU rate is locked in for the next year. So we just need to make sure, if we can, on that one, to monitor it and make sure that we're not building excessive reserves in that particular one, because
Yes, sir.
we've got like a 22,000 reserve in it, and that's more money than they used to, or as much money as they used to have altogether. So we just want to make sure that it doesn't become excessive reserves in that area.
Yes, sir. Actually, moving forward in the next, I would say the next quarter, I've got several projects that I'm trying to get prices on right now to just enhance the area as much as we can, whether it's mowing, whether there's actually a couple of culverts that need to be replaced. There's not going to be an option there. They have some work that they need to have done in the very near future, and I'm in the process of getting that lined out.
Good, yeah, as soon as they start seeing actual things being done other than us just banking their money, hopefully that'll calm down the few that are upset, hopefully.
Yes, sir.
All right, well, good deal. Thank you, Tony.
Thank you.
Yes,
So it's
Commissioner.
only because you brought up Moore's Landing bumpy trail. So the expectation of them after we met with them was that theirs was going to go up to where it was prior. Part of it is I think they have some projects they wanted to do, and they're afraid their reserves, even though they are fairly, and we talked about it already, him and I talked to the attorney, there is a way that we may be able to raise it mid-year, is that correct? What I'd like to do is for Tony and I to go out and have another meeting with them, just to make sure we know whether they want to hold off for a year for sure. Because the last meeting I was at, and I think it's the last one we had with them outside of one-on-one conversation with one member of the committee is one thing, the whole group of 20-some people being out there is another, right? So I just want to make sure that everyone's in congruence with waiting till next year and then raising it back to the old rate, or if they want us to move forward sooner. So Tony and I, you're gonna schedule that?
Yes, sir. I can schedule it for the next, I don't know, maybe next month. I can contact Chris Westbury, because he's kind of the one that spearheads everything. Actually, I had a pretty lengthy conversation with him today as far as future projects. Yeah. And right now, they're in pretty good shape. I mean, the only thing that they can think of possibly is some more fill, because they got had a lot of lime rock put on their area.
Okay.
Not necessarily clay, which lime rock's very expensive. But I think that we're going to really be able to move forward with keeping up with the maintenance that needs to be done in that area with the budget that we have. And also, too, to whittle down on the reserves to where we're not, holding it more or less, just not doing anything with it.
All right, as long as we have that meeting with them and they all concur, I'm fine with that. So
Okay.
let me know when that's going to be and I'll be there.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone else?
Okay, do you need any, I'm gonna do public comment right now, but do y'all need anything else on this part of it? The next part of it's at 5:05, right? Okay, do we have any public comment that would like to speak today on the MSBU? Yes, sir. If you would give your name and address for the record, please, sir.
Robbie Robertson, 130 Morris Trail. Mr. Chairman, Terry, please tell John and Becky, Robbie said hey.
I will.
Commissioners. I don't know how long it's been, Mitchell, since we started the MSBU on Morris Trail. Does anyone tell me? Yes. 30-something years ago?
Yeah, it was a long time ago.
30-something years ago.
Yeah.
we had a carrot dangled in front of our face. Said that, the commissioner at the time said, 10 years, paying this MSBU, we can get this road paved. Well, it's been 30 years. The neighborhood is like half and half of brick and mortar homes, well-kept yards. The other half that isn't, modular homes, or whatever we like to call them now, are all nice and well-kept. The dust on that road, I don't know if the mixture of limestone and clay and sand is not right, but there's times during the year when you walk up there and rub your hand across my house and it comes out white from the limestone. Pave our road. Pave our road. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Adams. Zach?
Every time I've come out there and met with MSPU, I've been very forthright, and I even brought out the rankings of the roads. And unfortunately, I mean, from a dirt to pave perspective, and I can go through it with you one-on-one if you want afterwards, it ranks very low on as far as the roads in my district. So for the fact that we get 1 to 2 miles of roads a year, that would take up my entire district's role, and your road scored, both of those roads score very low compared to all the other roads that I have to get paved. So, and I was forthright the first time I ever met with that group, and I'll be forthright with you today in public, on a public meeting, which those are public meetings, but they were with that core group of people from your community. I don't see, if I was a commissioner, which I'm only gonna be a commissioner for a little over a year, those roads don't rank being paved for 10 to 15 more years if you went by the way that we rate the roads. Now, we have talked about potentially re-rating the roads. Maybe it would change, but there's thoroughfares in District 5 that are main connectors between areas that aren't paved. So those have to be done, in my opinion, before that community, unfortunately.
Could I ask a question? I apologize, I'm not up on this particular MSBU. It's not in my area. Isn't there an avenue that you can talk to the people within an MSBU and say that for X amount of dollars a year, you can actually pave your own road in your MSBU?
Yeah, they did that. They got 2% of the people said yes to paving.
Okay, I got you.
So we did that last year. I tried to do that.
Well, it is a democracy, I mean,
Right.
okay.
I think they only had, out of the 30 some respondents, only 2 or 4 responded with a yes.
Okay.
So we did try that as well. Your MSBU, your.
Hey, Robbie, I don't mind you speaking, but you're gonna have to come, we record the meeting, and you're gonna have to come back up to the microphone.
And the cost was per lot or per property?
Right.
How much was it?
I don't remember. It was, I think
Yeah,
they
it was
estimated 500,000.
For a bunch of
per mile.
retirees,
Right.
$8,500, $9,500.
Yeah, I have
It's a lot of
retirees,
money.
I have retirees in every road in District 5. Just so you know, it's not unique to,
You know, the whole
I love you
Stokes
guys, I
Landing-
love your community,
the whole-
but
The whole Stokes Landing area is neglected in a lot of ways. Our drainage, our ditches, and, you know, when it rains out there, it floods. And we really don't see a bang for our buck. And with the
I
amount of-
understand that, but I'm just telling you from paving your road perspective, this commissioner who would make that decision in District 5, it doesn't make sense for the county, based on other roads that need to be paved in front of yours.
Well,
Well, thank you,
do
Commissioner.
you know how
Thank-
many miles of road are out there? Do you know how many miles of road is out there in Stokes Landing? I mean, I don't know, I'm asking.
Hey, Robbie, I appreciate you coming today, buddy. This is not a debate. We just wanted to be able to hear what you had to say.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Give him a call, Robbie, and maybe you can give him your concerns directly. But I do appreciate you coming today. Yes, sir. All right, so with that, we're going to move to public comment Well, first appointments. Is there anybody that would like to make any appointments today? Commissioner Adamsack? Commissioner Harvey?
I have none.
Higgins? Wilkinson?
I have none.
Okay, so we're going to go to public comment on miscellaneous items. This portion of the agenda is designed to allow citizens an opportunity to bring matters to the attention of the board. It is not reasonable to expect that the board will engage in debate or deliberation about matters on which the board received no prior information as part of the agenda. Please limit your comments to 3 minutes. Public comment cards are conveniently placed in the meeting room on the entrance and should be submitted to Deputy Clerk Ashley over here to my left, your right. So, with that, is there anybody in attendance today? You don't have any cards, Ashley? Is there anybody in attendance today that would like to speak in public comment? Okay, seeing as we don't have any, I'll close public comment and I'll move down to the Honorable Matt Reynolds.
Good afternoon, Mr. Chairman and Commissioners. I only have one thing, and I gave you copies of this report that is officially out. I'm going to be putting it on clerk's website. I'll work with county staff, have it available on the county website. It is a shorter version of the county's financial information. The ACFR, the Annual Comprehensive Financial Report, is a pretty unwieldy document. And this document kind of tries to take the highlights of that and put it in a more graphical, visual presentation format that's easier for citizens to read through and review. So just wanted to bring that copy to all you guys. And also I wanted to thank my staff for all of their hard work on it, specifically Logan. She went above and beyond working on this to get it done. She put in a lot of effort to it, so I wanted to thank her personally for all her hard work on it. Let me know if you would like to have copies to hand out to constituents, or if you're going to meetings or maybe people interested in Putnam County. I can get you guys as many copies as you would like. So,
Thank you, Matt. Okay, Colonel Commando, Mr. Suggs. Thought you had something you was gonna bring today. Yes, JR?
I just didn't want to miss the opportunity to thank each and every one of you for yesterday, and all of the constitutionals and the citizens that participated in yesterday's 9/11 ceremony. It was very well attended. I thought it was a very good presentation, and I'd just like to take the opportunity to thank each and every one of y'all sitting at the dais and everybody else that's in the room today that attended yesterday. It was probably the most well-attended one that I've seen since I've started not shortly after 9/11. So just thank you all.
Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, if I can, I don't
I
have
knew
any.
you couldn't miss the opportunity.
Well, I need to piggyback on that because, Mr. Grimes is right, and it would be, we used to hold it out here in the parking lot, and I moved down to the riverfront 2 years ago, and the setup and what Fire Rescue has done with their honor guard and everything is absolutely phenomenal.
Yes.
And I think the setup down at the riverfront's a great venue, and it was well attended, and so kudos to Deputy Administrator Grimes and his crew for what they've done the last several years. And I think Deputy Manager Grimes and I were talking yesterday, and his comments were spot on yesterday about it's our responsibility to remind people about 9/11 because there's people that weren't born yet, and we were talking about that yesterday, and it's very important for us not to forget our history, and it was well done yesterday. So, Deputy Grimes, thank you so much.
I was going to wait until my comments, but I think now would be appropriate time to say also that JR, you and your bunch did a really good job down there. That was as good a one as we've had, and I've attended 6 of them now so far, and so it was pretty nice. Y'all did a wonderful job. We're going to move down to commissioner comments at this time. Commissioner Adamsack,
I have none at this point.
Commissioner Harvey.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chairman. I got a couple things I need to bring up, and I do apologize for the late notice. This coming Thursday, I'll be down in Lake Mary at the Florida Association of Counties, and to much to my surprise, I our policy conference starts, and that wasn't the surprise. The surprise was my name in Putnam County. I placed a Florida Wildlife Corridor payments in lieu of taxes as a policy procedure for the Florida Association of Counties to keep their eye on. Putnam County gets payments in lieu of taxes for lands that are taken off the tax roll. But what I was surprised was I didn't know that it would be under Putnam County. So I do apologize that I didn't bring that to you earlier, but it's just a way of the association supporting this, and it will be coming from Putnam County if that's okay with this board. Mr. Chairman, is that okay?
Okay by me.
What does it entail?
It's supporting our payment in lieu of taxes, and last year, we've gotten over $90,000 from the state government in payment in lieu of taxes. So when they take lands off of the tax roll,
Yes.
we benefit from that.
Yes, when I
So-
worked at the water management, we did
Right.
that, and so I think they continue to do that.
Yeah. And the other one, Mr. Chairman and fellow board members, is my recommendation that you've heard me mention many, many times about the local technology planning team funding. The association has taken it on by me to run this up the ladder and see if we can get placeholder money from the state legislators for our local technology planning teams. So you've heard me mention that. Those are our two proposals that I'll be bringing if it's okay with the board.
Anybody have a problem with it? Sound,
I don't have a problem with either of those proposals. You know, one thing that's been eating at me for a while, and I don't know if you can add stuff to it, but at some point, this regional area on the St. Johns River has got to come together, and I don't know how we do that from Putnam, because we're really kind of the smallest player in all of it, but maybe this is the way through the Florida Association of Counties, on the eelgrass in the river. Because it's a thing that, and I agree that if I'm meeting with someone to talk about the fencing, why it's not the solution for us as Putnam County to go and do it ourselves. But that's a geographical thing that we need to get out somehow beyond just talking to our local state legislators. South Florida has done a fantastic job of figuring out how to get all the money for the Everglades and stuff. And from here to Jacksonville and even south of us has failed in getting this on the map the right way for whatever reason. I think this might be a starting point for that, and I'd like to see that on what we recommend as a legislative initiative.
That's two different things, isn't it? I mean, y'all were talking about two different
But it's
things.
still legislative initiative, right? Because the
kinda
state's
is.
the
We
main,
could
one of the main
probably-
stakeholders in that.
If you don't mind, Mr. Chairman?
yeah, please.
We could probably go through the regional council that you serve on also. That might be the starting point. We do have a water environmental lost the word.
I know, I was in the meeting the other day.
Environmental substance, whatever, committee that we could make mention of that, but it's probably going to be too late this year. But we could probably go through the regional council first and talk about it there.
I think at some point we gotta hit it from every direction we possibly can, so.
But I know Rodman Reservoir's got all the eelgrass you want.
Yeah, well, it doesn't port over, unfortunately.
I know.
If it was that easy, that we'd have the solution in Putnam.
Yeah. Mr. Chairman, if you don't mind, I'd like to also, since I have the floor, echo the 9/11 ceremony was wonderful. It's always a wonderful event to see our men and women who give of themselves. You know, a couple of years ago, I wrote a speech about the day the world didn't stop turning on the next day, and how people and my own family members have to push away from the table and run out the door when the page goes off. I don't live like that. I don't know if I could live like that, but I appreciate the people that do, the men and women who support that in this community and throughout our land to make us free. So it's a very moving celebration for me. I appreciate my grandfather drove the back of the fire truck up in New Jersey. My brother was fireman, my brother-in-law, but that wasn't my path. But I applaud them, and I applaud all the men and women in uniform who protect us every day. And when that page goes off, they run to the danger while we're running out of the danger. So thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. Commissioner Pickens?
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'll add to that also. I went to the 9/11 memorial yesterday. I want to thank Public Safety Director Grimes and the Honor Guard for putting that together. It was really well done. JR's address was fantastic, and so was Chairman Turner's. And I want to thank the Honor Guard for coming to us, last year and moving that venue from the parking lot down to the riverfront. It's just a much better facility to have it at, and it really went well. It was very, very, very well attended. Also, I just want to thank emergency services, our staff, sheriff's department, everybody that was involved with the preparation for hurricane, and I'll say this wrong, Idalia, did I get it right? You prepare for the worst and you hope for the best. And I want to thank Chairman Turner for putting all the time in out there. I know there are decisions to be made. And I appreciate, since we cannot go to and I couldn't go to the EOC, of the updates I either got from Deputy County Administrator Grimes, either Administrator Suggs, all the updates that we got to keep us informed of the decisions that were made and how things were moving forward. So thank you very much. And I do appreciate all the donations, I guess, that have come in, and the mutual aid that we're providing some over in those counties that were less fortunate to us, JR, so I appreciate that. And on a sadder note, I just want to send my heartfelt condolences out to the Vic Satowski family. Vic was passed away suddenly August 26th, a longtime member of our community, a businessman, a leader, and he was a city commissioner of Pomona Park for 8 years. And he will surely be missed, and funeral will be at 10:30 at the Pomona Park Community Center on Saturday. So I just want to recognize him. That's all I have.
Thank you, Commissioner. Commissioner Wilkinson.
Thank you. I want to give a shout out to our animal control facility. The day before the hurricane, I rode out there and went through the facility. They had it as clean as they could have it. They had it prepared as much as they could have it prepared. It was staffed. It was, they were doing everything they could to get prepared to leave the animals for, overnight and possibly the next day. And I thought they did a phenomenal job. But I also want to thank this board for adding those staff members, because I could tell a big difference out there in them being able to get the work done that they needed to get done. So I really, really appreciate y'all doing that. And then also while I was out there, it was almost like Christmas for some of the staff members, because the Palaca South Historic District had made some donations, and they were able to meet them at one of the pet stores in town. And what they were doing was they were unwrapping like those big pig ears and stuff like that, and so that all the animals would have something to sort of keep them busy, and toys and things like that, something to keep them busy while they, were penned up for a little bit longer than what they normally were. But everything was clean. We all know we can't build that facility quick enough, but I can tell you the staff did an excellent job, and I want to thank the South Historic District for that donation. And then also, we had a great 9/11 ceremony, so thank you for that, and to your team, JR. And also, I want to thank the Putnam Ministerial Service. They had a prayer service yesterday on 9/11 at the First Baptist Church, and I was able to go to that. And on behalf of the board, I was able to read the proclamation that we had done in August. And so thank you for that as well, and thank you to the Putnam Ministerial Service, because we need to come together and pray for our citizens, and that's what they did. They came together, a multi-denominational. We prayed for our country, our county, our students, our parents, and we needed that. And it certainly moved me, and I was glad I got to go. And then in addition to that, don't forget we have our upcoming Farm Share event Saturday, the 16th, at the fairgrounds. So it starts at 8 o'clock, and that'll be a great event for the county. Open to the public, and everybody can come. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner. I'd like to remind everybody that we have a 5:05 public hearing, so at this time I'm going to recess the Board of County Commissioners, and we will reconvene at 5:05 for the public hearing.